Well, good morning. I am a storyteller, so I hope you would excuse me if I tell stories. That is what I am. But the story is told of a Ghanaian who traveled abroad on government scholarship in the days when the only thing that was reliable about Ghana government scholarship was that it never came on time. He wakes up one morning and discovers that he's run dry. The money from Ghana had not come, and wondering what to do. And he decides that instead of staying in his room and wondering where the money will come, he would rather go for a walk on the streets of New York. And as he took the walk, he came upon this restaurant that had a sign at the door. It said, "Free meals are served here. Your grandchildren will come and pay." He reads it again and then decides that, well, let me try it. What a crazy thing. He goes in there, goes to the table and asks them, "Excuse me, I saw a sign and your sign says," and before he could even finish, the front desk person says, "Yes, the sign means exactly what it says. Your meal will be free. Your grandchildren will come and pay." So he looks at the odds. He calculates the odds, Jerry, like you would calculate, and decides that when he was leaving Ghana, he didn't even have a girlfriend. What are the chances that he's going to get married, have children, and those children are going to... At any rate, when the children, his grandchildren come here, how would they know these are my grandchildren? He looks at it and realizes that the odds are very, very good. So he sits down and a meal is brought to him. And he eats. You know, there's a certain appetite that comes when you're eating food you know you don't have to pay. So he finishes it and he leans back in his chair. If it was in Ghana, he would have asked for a piece of broom. And if you are here and you don't know what we use a piece of broom for, after eating, you are dadaba, not a jabba. And just then, he sees the waiter come in with a folder on the saucer, and all his fears come back. And as soon as the waiter gets to him, he said, "Wait a minute. Your sign said my meal is free. I asked you, and you also confirmed my meal is free. So what is this?" And the waiter said, "Oh, relax, my friend. Your meal is free, as we promised. But this is what the bill your grandfather left you when he was here." Before I go on, let me pay homage to two people here. One is Juliet. Juliet, we owe so much to in the creative space for her spirit, for her fight, for her never giving up thing. How she can still smile upon all the frustrations she has encountered is only a sign that she's called Asantua, because Asantuas never give up. The second person is my big brother, Professor Steve, sitting there, the young man who is paid his dues to Ghana. Prof, some of us owe so much to you. You've been quite an inspiration. You know that, going back to the 70s. And when I count my treasures, I count you as one of them and your influence over my life. And it's good to see you here. It's a good thing that we are having this program in the morning, because if it was in the evening, he will get up and leave, because he said his mother told him something, that nothing good happens after what? 8 p.m. So you should not hang out with people after 8 p.m. because no good person hangs out after 8 p.m. Well, Prof, today is a.m., not p.m., so we are going to have you here. In the 90s, I worked with with an auto company. We sold expensive brands from Europe. And we were supervised by an European who passed through Ghana once a year. He would come to Ghana, and after 2 days, the man just wants to leave Ghana. He gets irritable if he stays more than 2 days here. He wants to go. He wants to go away. Okay. And then from Ghana, he will fly to South Africa. Then we heard that this man who could not stay more than 2 days in Ghana goes to South Africa and spends more than a week. So at a conference of all the agents of this company, automobile company, we asked our South African counterpart that, what is your trick? What's your secret? How are you able to maintain this guy, keep this guy in South Africa for 1 week, when we can't keep him for 2 days? And our colleagues asked, well, what do you do with him when he comes to Ghana? I said, well, we have very fruitful discussions with him. We take him around to see some of the important people he needs to see, the movers and shakers and things like that. I said, and then after that, we take him to his hotel, we make sure he has a good dinner and things like that. And after that, I said, what do you mean by after that? I mean, it's the next day, we go and pick him and bring him back. He said, you guys have got it wrong. He said, over here. By the time he comes, we've lined up events every evening. Every evening from the office, we are taking him somewhere for a quick meal and for a show. And that is why when the man comes here, he doesn't want to go back. The question is, in Ghana, if you get an investor coming to visit you, where would you take him? I have been at the front desk of a hotel, and someone had walked from his room to the front desk and asked, where can I go this evening? And the front desk person had no answer. In Ghana, if you do not drink, you will not have any options for your evenings. South Africa has so much to offer. In Ghana, this is what you are left with. This is what you are left with. And if you do not drink, too bad for you. But should it be this way? Should we accept it as such? Typically, Ghana has been dismissive of those of us in the creative space. If Juliet is to tell a story, she'll tell you that in the early days in particular, for somebody like her, the conclusion is that you are a prostitute, or you are a failure, you are a dropout. You don't have anything proper to do. That is why you are doing this. In my time, say they call what I'm doing concert and dismiss it completely. But should we continue doing this? And I'd like to say this, that it is because of ignorance. We haven't taken the time and the trouble to advise ourselves and to learn what the creative economy, the creative sector can bring to a nation like ours. So let's look at a few. Arkansas provides us with some interesting figures. The creative sector in Arkansas employs nearly 27,000 individuals and generates $927 million in personal income for the people. So that is money that the sector puts in the pocket of people in Arkansas. 927. North Carolina, the wages and incomes of workers employed in the cultural, arts, and tourism sectors infused $3.9 billion, $3.9 billion into the state's economy in 2006. To put it in Ghanaian terms, it infused IMF bailout into the economy. Total IMF bailout, because we are going for $3 billion. Massachusetts, the sector contributed $4.23 billion to the state's economy. And for 2021, the creative sector contributed $1.02 trillion to the American economy. Now, before I go on, let me just sound a little note here. I have a speech impediment, so if my R and my L's become too friendly, just edit them out, okay? And I hope. Now, this is just one country. I'm sure if we go around the world, we would realize that we lose a lot with our contempt and disdain and continued willful ignorance of the contribution of the arts and cultural sector. And I call it willful ignorance because our big men need to know. I went to a big man's office, and Juliet, this is what he said. Ghana, sure, Debbie. But when I travel abroad, I don't come back home until I've watched a show. Yes. But Ghana, no. He said, no, I won't come. He told me to my face. No, Ghana show, it will not be worth my time. But, oh, by the way, I'm an arts person. When I travel outside, if I haven't watched a show, I am not coming back. Willful. So he knows the value. You know, when the nation of King Charles happened, there were people in the UK that complained at the bill. £100 million. And they said it's obscene when there are so many people who are struggling to eat. 100 million. Well, CNN projects that out of that coronation of £100 million, that event gave the economy, the UK economy, a boost of £8 billion. £8 billion. Just that cultural event boosted the economy by £8 billion. Now, of course, we don't have anything in Ghana that can compare with the pool of King Charles and of the monarchy in the UK. But trust me, we have something. It may not come anywhere near there, but we do have something. I watched the return of Otumfuo from the coronation. He was not the one who went to be coronated. Do you understand? He attended the coronation and returned. The scene at Kumasi Airport was incredible. The number of people who came to meet him. And then the ride through the principal streets of Kumasi. And as the procession went on, the numbers grew and grew. There's one school where all the students left, they were in their uniform. They came out of the school and started running after the motorcade until they got to Manshia. I looked. This is not coronation. But it was a massive event. The problem is, how much did it add to the economy of Kumasi? Think about it. T-shirts would have sold, I'm telling you. T-shirts would have sold. Pictures of this picture. This picture of my friends, I am a BBC boy. I was born before computer, so please help me with this. I think I've gone right to the end of my presentation. Forgive me, my generation, we think about printing T-shirts with that picture on it, or any of these. We didn't do any of those things. On the day, the only people who made business, I am sure, were the sachet water sellers along the route that was used. Because with people running after the motorcade, I'm sure there were a few thirsty people, and they had to quench their thirst. The point I'm making is that we may not have what others are, but we do have something. And we are not doing the best with that. Even the little we have, we are not working with it. We are like the talents, the story of the talents in the Bible. We think we've been given only one talent, and so we've buried it. And we are looking for other sectors to help us. Oh, by the way, the figures I gave you of the contribution of the creative sector to the economy of the U.S., you must know, was higher than the contribution of mining and agriculture to the U.S. economy. Let's think about that. Cultural capital is defined as a total body of what a nation people have to offer. The sum total of a country's wealth or stock of art, heritage, and other kind of cultural expression. Like other kinds of capital, cultural capital needs to be invested in, otherwise it depreciates or becomes devalued over time. We've got to do something better. We are rich in this respect. Look at our festivals. How many of our festivals have been marketed? Abuachil, Bakatoi, Owo. Look at how much Jamestown attracts for the Chalowote Festival. It's becoming such a big thing. When I was growing up, who would go to Kwawu? Today, if you don't go to Kwawu on Easter, for Easter, then you pray that the next year you will go. It's becoming such a big thing. It's becoming such a big thing. Guess what? Now, almost everybody who comes from Kwawu is now putting up a house in Kwawu because, at least for Easter, there will be an overflow of people needing a place to sleep. I talk about the case of Rock City. The first time I saw Rock City, I was shocked. I had never expected to see that gem in that part of Ghana. And I looked at it and said, oh, why would he bring his hotel here? Fine hotel. Why didn't he put it up in Kumasi, in Accra? A few weeks after that, I had the privilege to go and speak in the hotel for an NGO that was having a program there. And I engaged the manager. And he said, yeah, our hotels, some of the rooms are booked perpetually. He said people come for the festival and they book for the next year and pay. And so right now, if you want room for next year Easter from this hotel, Rock City, you will not get it because it's full. That is the power of investing and marketing this. And it's because the chief, the people, everyone there is so invested in this, and they are pushing this. There's a new concept I came upon as I was preparing for this. It's called creative placemaking. And creative placemaking is a new direction that the mayors in the US are moving towards in designing their cities. What they are doing is that they think of placing the cultural places, the entertainment places first, because they've discovered that once you get that, people would come. And cities will grow, and other businesses would also grow from it. You know, the more I think about this, the more I realize that in Ghana, we are treating the creative sector like we used to keep poetry in the past. Those of you who are my age know that some of us are older than Poetry Farm. Poetry Farm was a new thing. Every home had poetry. What you did was that you had a coop. You had the chicken. In the morning, you opened them, gave them a little bit of maize to start them for the day, and you left them. And they roamed. In the evening, they came home to roost. And you hoped that when Christmas comes and you want chicken, and I'm talking about Christmas because in my generation, when I was younger, you ate chicken only on 2 days in the year, Christmas and Easter. Your generation has reduced the stature of chicken. You chop chicken by heart. By now time, no. So you wait for the Easter or you wait for the visit of a very VIP to the home. And then you go to the coop and pick one. You haven't invested much in them, but you are hoping that you'll get one juicy enough for your visitor or for your needs. That is what we've done with the creative sector. We've left people alone. Ask Juliet what support she got in the early days. It will be zero. If I'd ask her now how much support she's getting, and the politician in her will not answer. Because, again, you don't want to offend too many people. And yet, at the end of the day, they expect to see something from the sector. It doesn't work that way. The creative sector has a potential. And Jerry, I add my voice to Julie. And to everybody here who wants to set up any fund, set it for the arts. I'm sure you will make more than you are currently making in other areas. And oh, by the way, if any of you wants to put up a hotel, no, give us a performance hall. So that we'll have screens. So that we'll have places that people would come to. Again, you will make much more money than a hotel with less wahala and less avenues for people to steal from you. With that, once again, I'd like to add my voice to the previous speakers in thanking Yamson and Associates for this. The only thing I take from this one is the kind of pressure Harry can give you. I think we'll have to give him an award for that. Thank you very much.